13 or 812-603-2902.
Child advocates breaking ground in Indiana as the only.
All right, y'all. Tell me if you can hear me. Sound check. Welcome to Unity in the Community Saturday, April 27th. How y'all doing?
We go where others fear to tread. We won't stop seeking justice, equity, and safety to build a better world for children. Join us. Your voice, their future. Learn more at childadvocates.net.
Paid for by Child Advocates.
At Sherman, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public.
All right, welcome to Unity in the Community. Tell me if you can hear us okay. Hey, Darcy, good afternoon. Welcome to Unity in the Community. We're about to get started here in just a few moments. Sound check for me. Make sure that that you can hear me. How does it sound? Loud and clear. All right, that's all I need.
Enjoy the go with Sherman.
WTOC AM W236CR Indianapolis. Get ready for a whole new level of inspiration, Indianapolis. Tune in to Praise AM 1310 95.1, Indy's inspiration station, and let your spirit soar.
2024 is here, and we are officially in primary season. Get registered and help make a difference. Remember, you cannot vote unless you are registered. If you need to find more information about how, when, and where to vote, please visit onevote2024.com. Urban One wants to thank you for registering to vote and to remind you about our state primary on Tuesday, May 7th. Urban One is committed to ensuring voters know of all the information they need to participate in every election. Log on to onevote2024.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. I gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. Love for 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your bed. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
The new Eskenazi Health Thomas and Arlene Grandy campus is now open at the corner of East 38th Street and North Arlington Avenue. We look forward to welcoming the community to a space that is for more than just healthcare, but a place to celebrate the neighborhood, enjoy public art, and provide access to a wide range of services and resources to support your well-being. Appointments are available by calling 317-880-7666 or learn more at eskenazihealth.edu.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Unity in the Community. Beautiful afternoon, almost 80 in the capital city. And last week, teeth were chattering. It was so cold, but hey, it's the Midwest. 317-972-3008, 317-972-3008 is the number that you will need to be connected to the show on today. We've got a lot of good stuff to share with you on this Saturday afternoon. We're broadcasting live. Monument Circle, they got something going on. Symphony Orchestra is down there on the circle. They got the whole thing closed off so that you could come down and listen to some orchestra, the Symphony Orchestra. I don't have all the details, but at least walking in, they're down there doing something. So if you're in the area, check them out. If you like classical music and all that sort of thing, I think you'll enjoy it. Also, folks who are streaming, and if you want to see who's saying what they're saying on this Saturday afternoon, you can do that by going to the Indy Praise app on the World Wide Web, or you can stream on Facebook. My Facebook page is James William Jackson, and I need your help. Trying to get to 10,000 followers, just 700 away, which when I reach 10,000 followers, I don't just want 10,000 followers to have 10,000 followers. But the way the app's set up is once you reach 10,000 followers, it opens up or unlocks additional features to the app so that I can reach more people around the world and particularly across America. So if you are not following me, please go to James William Jackson on Facebook. Click the follow button. I would appreciate it so much and your help. We're just about 9,300 followers so far. Again, 700 more will put us at a new place so we can reach more people for the cause of Christ. But on this afternoon, I want to reach out to you and let you know that there's all kinds of things going on here in the city of Indianapolis. So we're streaming on my Facebook page, also the Praise Indy Facebook page. We're also streaming there, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all over the place. And joining me on this fourth Saturday, as per usual, my good friend, brother and colleague, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Hello, my friend. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Man, I'm happy to be here.
Radio personality, TV personality, school board member,
servant. I'm just a
pastor, community servant.
Come on, Jackson. I'm just a servant, man. You know, I just serve, man.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. It was unusual to see the.
Hey, if you were Steve Harvey, to be paying you, because he does all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, man. It was man. You something else. Listen, man. Pastor, I was coming on this. We was walking around the circle, and we saw the.
Because we couldn't park.
We couldn't park on the circle today because the turf was busy today. I mean, the turf is busy, and the statement I heard was that. The whole circle shut off, but when Jerry Wade, it was just half of it was shut off. So, yeah, so we see the difference.
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah. People don't understand the difference between the turf.
That might be a show.
Yeah, it is a show.
On unfiltered.
Unfiltered show.
Like the morning fellowship.
Morning fellowship, unfiltered.
Is that 8 a.m.?
8 a.m.
On your Facebook page?
On my Facebook page, #1 morning show in the city of Indianapolis. Whether people acknowledge it or not, it is.
All right. Also check out Real People, Real Voices.
Real People, Real Voices. I didn't get there until you got me there, and I thank God for that. And we're still moving it along and giving
information.
What,
7 years?
Oh man, 7 years old. It's the #1 community show at WHM-TV at Channel 40.
Got a lot of sponsors.
Co-host Dr. David Green.
Yeah.
Over 10 sponsors on that show. We're still looking for.
Started with zero,
man. And God is good, and community needs to hear from people who are in the community.
Yeah, Real People, Real Voices.
Yeah, great show. Also,
please be sure to tune in to the Community Connection with Tina Cosby Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. News you can use. Used to be called Afternoon with Amos, and God bless him. And now Tina Cosby is doing a great job with community engagement. So 1 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. But now we've got unity in the community. And I'm expecting Sharia Caldwell to call in just a few moments. She is the Vice President of Communications and Engagement at the Community Alliance for the Far East Side. There's a big event going on there as we speak, 11 to 2 p.m. It's Community Day. Community Day at Cafe, 8902 East 38th Street, Far East Side of Indianapolis. Community Day at Cafe over there at 8902 East 38th Street. And just a lot going on there. Avail yourself to all the wonderful things that are happening.
Yeah.
Dr. Moore.
Yeah.
A lot going on with youth in our city. I want to kind of touch on that. Since last we were together, we were talking about Chief Bailey and the meeting that convened at the North, I think it was the North District. And talking about the different things that we need to do where our youth are concerned. Yeah. And one of the things that came up is we need more youth voice, where youth are giving input as to what they need so that we can help them. And I'd like to get your thoughts on that. And those of you who are listening, have you heard anything with regard to what the youth want? And especially those of you who are educators, you can help me out. Educators, administrators in school, daycare owner operators, give me a call at 317-972-3008. Again, 317-972-3008. we could have a radio town hall on this afternoon, as it were, so that you can help us and help the city of Indianapolis to hear what youth are saying.
You know, you got a great point there. We ought to give opportunity. I think we've done that 4 or 5 years ago.
Since 2012.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that once before.
We did a big survey.
Did a big survey on it as well. And it's kind of hard to have people come to the table who have taken away from youth. And now they want to know what to give youth. That is an oxymoron to me. I mean, when you look at the POW Club and other things that were instrumental, you and your constituents are very involved in taking something away. Now you don't know what they need. That doesn't make sense to me. But it is, the youth deserve privilege to give recommendations to help create a structure for youth in Indianapolis. And I think it's important that we understand that. We did a survey and many years ago, and they had some good ideas on those surveys. I'm pretty sure when we look at the surveys now, you're going to see something totally different, you know, than what we saw then. Gyms are closing. After, you know, very few people are putting in basketball programs and things of that anymore. A lot of the resources are not there for youth in Marion County or in Indianapolis. The grant programs that have the recipients, we don't see much of, I don't know if it's benefit or much results from that right now, because the IUPUI report really has suggested that we are in a crisis with juvenile crime and gun carrying. And so it's difficult. And I will just say, and I don't have any problem saying it, it's just hard for people to ask the question of youth when you've done everything in your power to take things away from them.
And when you talk about the POW Club, and you've lived in Indianapolis a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
I've lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, since I was 11.
Yeah.
You've been here all your life, I think you said?
Yeah, I've been here all my life.
So what did it look like?
Oh, my
the
God.
POW Club when you were coming up?
Oh, man, I remember Mr. Gaines, we called him Mr. Bruiser. I remember Mr. Green. I remember all of those guys who worked in conjunction with YMCA. And they just, and the park department had a great collaboration with POW Club as it relates to the facilities that were used during practice and game days, and to house equipment and things of that nature. Those things are gone. They're gone. And it's hard to even get a baseball team together. I mean, we were just working with Douglas Little League, who has struggled and is struggling this year. They're 70 years old, and we were able to tap into some things for them to make it this year, and hopefully a few years to come. But the POW Club was major in the Black community.
As Police Athletic League?
Yes, it was major. It was major. I mean, tremendous athletes even came out of those programs and went on to do great high school athletics, and even so many of them went to college. Mr. Bradley, I played for Mr. Bradley, and he would take us all over the country playing POW Club basketball. And he was able to get a lot of people tapped into colleges because of their basketball talent, and ended up with college education. A friend of mine, we talked today, Sam Harris. He played basketball with Bradley. Bradley got him. Bradley, rest his soul. He's in heaven right now. Got him a scholarship to Jarvis Christian in Texas. He stayed in Texas. Samuel Harris, good friend of mine. We played guard together at school number 4 and at Crispus Attucks together. And he went to get his degree at Jarvis Christian and played ball and averaged over 20 points a game and so many assists a game, and great defensive player. So many young men were birthed out of the POW Club system, and it does not exist like that anymore. and everything must change. But it does not have to change for the worse.
Sometimes the answer is in your past.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
well,
is.
let's go to this. We've got a caller. Again, 317-972-3008, 317-972-3008. And Dr. Moore, you're a little closer to the comments on the stream than I am. So if there are comments, if you could read those out. I don't know that there are right now, but caller, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Brother Montip, and thank you, Dr. Moore. Pastor Chase, appreciate you taking the call. Great point. I just got done coaching my soccer team over at TAB. We've got over 700 children in soccer. We've got a lot of more African American children you're seeing in soccer. And I did volunteer and help coach basketball this winter over at Powell. You're right, Dr. Moore. It's not what we've seen. Matter of fact, we were supposed to have 4 third and fourth grade teams over there at Powell, and then we didn't even have enough children, so we had to close 2 teams down. And unfortunately, one of them was mine. A lot of single parents and mothers trying to bring children and get children there. Difficult. Got a different kind of a population with soccer. I see more 2-parent households. We still got a few children that great grandmas and grandmas are bringing them, but it's a little different demographic. But I keep asking the question. Where are 4 open places for the children to go? It's not every day, Friday and Saturday. Open door. Not organizations, not mentor programs, just open door places. And then so when we look at it, you're right. It's not that way. I know they're having a citywide peace walk today over there at Martin Luther King Park. My good friend Kareem Himes informed me of that, so I'm going to get over there with my grandson and take a part of that. But for the most part, it has been few and far between. Like I said, we got the most children in soccer over at TAB that we've ever had, and that's because there's a lack of other places to go. And then you talk about baseball, I'll be done. Volunteered at Riverside 2 or 3 years ago, right after the pandemic. We had a couple. We fielded enough for a team. 1 year, 9. No, we may have had 11. And then that very next year, we only had 7. So you can play baseball with 7, but that was all we had. Now, I know my late friend Sherry Beck was coaching over at Powell, trying to help with baseball, and then that kind of dried up over at Powell. So it's a problem. It's a problem. They're having that same problem out at the Bonner Center out south. I talked to the lady in charge out there, I think Miss Marilyn, and so they're having that problem. So I don't know. Is it sponsors? Is it sponsorship? Is it more organizations? Is it more businesses? Do we need to go knock door to door and make those people on the corner selling chicken and wings to help fund these programs that we have and these organizations that we have? I don't know. But it's not good from what I can see, and I'm right out there in it.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm sorry.
Right now, I don't know if you've seen this shift. When we talk about these programs that you're talking about, in my thinking and in my mind, they have been I would say renamed or rebranded. When we look at youth programs, in my mind, my friend, I look at them as juvenile prevention situations now, prevention programs. At one time, there used to be programs where kids would come, grow, and develop. But now we have to have these programs for prevention. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I'm thinking with 35 million that went to violence prevention, and then we're paying so-called violence interrupters who I don't know and haven't seen, and I'm out here. I don't know where they are. I don't see them. I'm at Riverside all the time. I'm up at various parks all the time. I never see them. And we're paying them, 53, 55, 58,000. We could have used some of that money to help with some of these programs. We got the mayor hollering about soccer and MLS. Well, soccer is putting a lot of money in youth sports. Professional soccer is dumping tons of money in.
It's the number 1 sport in the world.
Major League Baseball, Kenny Lofton, a good buddy of mine's relative who played professional baseball, he got Major League Baseball to dump a bunch of money in East Chicago. So they're building a new field up there. They're going to have various leagues up there in East Chicago. So, you gotta have.
Okay, we're going to have to take a break. We'll be right back in Motep. Stay around, and we'll get back with your callers back in. I'm Jackson.
We'll be back after this.
Ladies, let's chat. This is Karen Ball. And did you know that 80% of Black women have fibroids by the age of 50? Both my mother and I both suffered from fibroids, but now you don't have to with a procedure called UFI. I'm with Dr. Flanders and Dr. Dow from VIP Vascular and Interventional Physicians, a division of Northwest Radiology. Doctors, how can UFI help our female listeners?
Uterine fibroid embolization, or UFI, is an outpatient procedure that's minimally invasive. Patients go home after they're done, sleep in their own bed, and it treats all the fibroids for patients so that over 90% of patients would get symptom relief.
And most importantly, women get to keep their uterus. This isn't a hysterectomy. They don't remove the uterus, and patients are very happy with the overall treatment response.
Thank you, doctors. You're going to help so many people. For more information, log on to indyfibroids.com, or you can call 317-328-7255. That's 317-328-7255.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective. A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Yeah, we're back, Dr. Jackson.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. And we have someone that we need to bring on. But before we get to that, I do want to circle back, and we're going to continue to talk about this a little bit later, too. Our youth and the PAL Club, also known as the Police Athletic League.
Many years ago. Yeah.
It may be the answer, at least part of the answer to the problem with youth and having a PAL, if you will. You know, we talk about, having a PAL. You got PayPal, you got Fitness Pal, and these are.
And we want a police PAL.
And I think that's good. And the Emotep was talking about how you fund that thing. There was a city who was trying to get they were trying to get a soccer team. Maybe they did, but I was reading it yesterday. And of course, what Indianapolis is trying to do, and they paid as much as $500 million. Yeah. There's a fee that they paid, just to $500 million. So there is no shortage of money. And if it costs $500 million to do whatever needs to be done to get whatever the city's trying to get, that money will be found because there's so much more money to be made. But with regard to our young people, the Indianapolis Public Safety Foundation would be a good vehicle for the oligarchy, if you will, to put money into the Indianapolis Public Safety Foundation that was created, as I understand it, by the Ballard administration,
which has
for youth.
Yes, for youth, but has shifted drastically from the mindset of Mayor Ballard. Whether it was his mindset was to create environments and to help youth organizations and create youth organizations so that we do not have the juvenile issue that we have. The public safety
Indianapolis Public Safety Foundation
is, in my estimation, it's become ridiculous. Has become ridiculous. And
well, I haven't looked at it in a while.
I have. I've looked at it.
I think the mission is still the same.
Yeah.
And I would like to think. I would like to think that the current administration is still interested in using that to help our young people.
I can't tell. Personally, I can't tell.
Maybe they just don't have any money.
You just said it wasn't a shortage of money.
No, I know that there is no shortage of money, but it's just where the money goes.
Well, I remember at one time a few years ago, there was $2 million to go to the PAL Club. It never got there. So, and then we wonder why young people are carrying guns. There was a time, man, when PAL Club was not only a place for athletics, but it was a place for our law enforcement to create an atmosphere of discipline for our children as well.
Relationship.
Yeah. That is not valued anymore. It's not valued anymore. And we just have to look at it. You know, when you look at the PAL Club inner city, it's about right now blacks and Hispanics, brown people, and Indianapolis is just not one of those particular cities that believe in supporting that ethnicity to a high level, and it is what it is. And let's, just for instance, you talked about the soccer situation going on.
Yeah,
we have the
Indy.
We have the Indy 11. Who's got a hole in the ground over just far from, just on the other side of downtown. Got a hole in the ground, which was a graveyard with black people in the graveyard, and now they're building a soccer team on top of it. Now we got another soccer team ideology coming in here. What's going on? I mean, what's really happening? I mean, when we look at the whole situation, let's just be honest. See, this is what people don't want to do. Well, Indy 11 is here. We started to build a soccer field for Indy 11. Now we hear another soccer issues coming up, and it's going to cost a whole lot of money. And you know, when Joe Hockstedt stands before Mike and announces something, it usually gets done.
Well, it's going to create jobs.
Yeah.
But I will say that the city of Indianapolis and a lot of people have put a lot of money into youth programs. And I
don't doubt that.
I went back to like 2008 and just estimated forward.
Yeah.
And my rough estimation was about $50 million.
Yeah.
Over that time. So, but I do think that the infrastructure for creating a bridge and a connection between the police department and black and brown youth,
it's needed,
and youth everywhere,
it's needed.
Could be that PAL Club.
It's needed, man. It's needed.
The tool is already there. The police athletic league.
Over 60 young men and women, 60 juveniles.
Yeah, beef that up.
Yeah, caught up last year. I mean, with guns and violence and things of that nature. With the IU report out that's floating around in the community, it's frightening and it's devastating. And you know,
would you be a part of a committee to refresh that?
I would love to be a part of the committee to refresh that, but I don't get invited to many things.
I just ask you.
You know, I mean, but if I'm invited, I'm not coming to hear everybody's introduction about what they're doing.
Which you usually hear.
Yeah, I'm not coming to hear your pitch for dollars. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming for that. I'm coming for the specific reason to bring clarity and usefulness to the issue of youth. I'm not coming for people bragging about their programs and all of that. This is not what it's about.
All right. For those of you who are listening and watching, I certainly would love to hear your thoughts as to resurrecting, refreshing, and revitalizing the Police Athletic League, known as the PAL Club. And that's so important.
Yeah.
Because I remember years ago, we were on the far east side of Indianapolis, and we were having something out there, and we were at the Three Fountains Apartments. It was called that then.
Yeah, I remember that, brother.
Yeah, and there was a police officer. He put a sticker on a little boy's shirt.
Yeah.
And a little sticker on there, and it was a badge of a police officer. And the little boy was so happy, he was just beaming with excitement. And his mother came over there, and I'll never forget it. She snatched the sticker off of his shirt and said, "The police are not your friend."
Yeah.
And his countenance just fell. And he's got to be at least 12 or 13 now. And I wonder what impact that had on him, that his mother snatched that sticker off of his shirt and said, "The police are not your friend." I think that the revitalization, refreshment, and re-energizing of the PAL Club would be a home run for the city of Indianapolis. We're going to get back to that here in just a little bit. We do have Dr. Robbie Warren, who's calling in. Dr. Warren, welcome to the program.
How you doing, Pastor Jackson? It's so good to be connected to you, and I'm listening to some of the things that you were saying, and along with you again, really enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you do nationally and internationally. You've got a new book out. Talk to us about it.
My new book is not bashing what's going on, but it's connected to some of the things y'all are talking about. It's called Donald Trump, Servant of Jesus Christ, or of Satan. Have we been deceived? Judge for yourself.
Say more about the title.
Donald Trump. Now, we can see in the news and around that the former president is doing everything he can to get back into office. And in my research, and this is not a book bashing the former president, but it's looking at not only the natural aspects of the spiritual aspects as well. When we look at the history of Donald Trump area. And he gained a lot of his perspective, his willingness. One of the teachings that Dr. Peel taught was you could have just as much faith in yourself as you have Jesus Christ. And that teaches people to research that. And also he taught that you never succumb to defeat. You never admit defeat. You never admit failure. You never admit loss. So I deal with that, Dr. Jackson, and then I go into our religious perspective when it comes to eschatology. How that when you and your guest was talking about lawlessness and the mother snatching the badge off a young kid. Well, all of that has to do with the times and days in which we live in. So I deal with that. I deal with the war with Hamas and Israel. So I deal with a lot with Bible prophecy, Dr. Jackson.
And how can people avail themselves to your book?
Well, what they need to know, and you know this, being on both sides of the spectrum, people need to be aware that God has placed us here for a divine purpose, just like the children of Israel. I was listening to you and your guests. When you think about Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, God allowed the enemy to put them in Babylon. They was taken into Babylon. Now we know that Babylon is present-day Iraq. Now he allowed him. God gives us a message in Daniel. It's not just them coming out of the fire furnace, but it's about the sovereignty and the plans of God that he wanted them to be recognized. And Daniel had a high position. He became the president. He became over the president and different of the people there. But he maintained his integrity and his character. We as spiritual believers, we must not conform to this world, but we must understand that God has positioned us to be in opposition of the spirit of the Antichrist, or what we say the devil. Because if it wasn't for the believers being in this world, representing Jesus Christ, not only in the church, Dr. Jackson, but outside of the church, to make a difference in the lives of people. And I thank God for you, the work that you're doing, even as a civic leader. You are a spiritual leader. But just like Daniel was a civic leader. He never stopped praying, which what you do. And something, if I can interject this, when Daniel was put in the lion's den because of his relationship with Jehovah. And when he was in the lion's den praying, fasting, and the angels, now one thing I like about the text, we always get that the angel, his prayers was held up, and God told him, we heard you when you first prayed. But one thing, the king prayed to a God that he didn't even believe in. He prayed to the God of Daniel. He went every day. Daniel, are you okay? Daniel, are you okay? But his decree was based upon what the law had already established. What we need to do as believers, we need to quit being critical of the world and negative of the world, and really use our God-given gifts spiritually and naturally to make a difference in our cities. Because if we don't do it, it's going to be totally chaos. So we must use our wisdom. We don't preach Jesus to some people because everybody has a free will. But we can manifest the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, like Esther. Jehovah, God, Elohim is never mentioned in the book of Esther. But we can see Esther going to the king so they would not annihilate the people of God. So we have to understand that God is not a God of religion only. He's got the whole world in his hands.
All right, Doctor.
Sometimes we get stuck on that notion.
And Dr. Warren, if you can tell us, how can people get a hold of your book?
They can go to Amazon.com. They can type in Dr. Robbie Warren. Dr. Dr. If they put in my name, Google search my name, Dr. Robbie Warren, they'll see that book, Donald Trump, Servant of Jesus Christ or of Satan. Have we been deceived? Judge for yourself. And I deal with not just him, but I deal with the spirit that's in our cities and in our world. And we need to step up, Doctor.
All right, Dr. Warren, got to take a break. Thank you for your call and comment. We got Laura coming up here in just a moment. We'll be back after these messages.
Family, it's the weekend and a great time to get recharged and prayed up for the upcoming week. Join us each evening for the hottest inspirational broadcast in the nation, Monday through Friday, The Nightly Spirit with your girl, Darlene. I'll see you then. On Praise AM 1310, 95.1 FM, Indy's Inspiration Station.
Child Advocates, breaking ground in Indiana as the only agency that directly represents youth who face abuse and neglect in child welfare cases as their attorney. Breaking ground as the only child advocacy agency with an award-winning race equity program for years that has been interrupting racism for children. We go where others fear to tread. We won't stop seeking justice, equity, and safety to build a better world for children. Join us, your voice, their future. Learn more at childadvocates.net.
Paid for by Child Advocates.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77, I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
All right, welcome back to Unity in the Community. And those of you who are listening, that was Dr. Robbie Warren. Check out his book and be sure to be objective. Certainly there's a lot going on with the presidential election. We're going to Laura. She's been very patient. Laura, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. But I'm going to say welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You all. And you were talking about the POW Club, and I grew up in the era of the POW Club, and actually my uncle was one of the police officers that started the POW Club, Captain Nancy Watkins.
Really?
Yeah, I remember that name.
Yes, and so it was a great time, and I could always remember hearing him telling some young man, I need to see you at the POW Club on Saturday, blah, 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 blah. And so, more engagement. These kids are so stressed out, they don't have a safe place to play. The only thing I used to worry about, my mom used to tell me when we would go out to play, is don't get in the street. Mm-hmm. Now you got to worry about flying bullets and everything else. You don't have a safe place to sleep. They come in your house. The bullets come in your house. At school's not safe anymore. They don't have the safety sign outside the school anymore. This is a safe place. These kids are a ball of confusion, if you remember that song. Mm-hmm. So they need a place to let the outlet. You have to. They got to have an outlet. Otherwise, we're just going to see this mental health continue to grow.
You're going to see mental health and more juvenile shootings, and we're going to lose some juveniles.
Absolutely.
We just might as well be truthful about it. We as a community can no longer keep our heads in the sand about this issue. We're going to lose some juveniles to homicide and police action shootings. Let's just be honest about it. That's what's happening in our city.
Laura, do you remember your uncle saying why the POW Club was started?
I do not remember why, other than to get youth off the street, keep them out of trouble. I mean, they weren't doing the things that the gun violence as it is now, but the fighting and all the other things, and giving them another alternative to let that energy out. You got to expel it somewhere, in some way. And as Pastor just said, right now it's going to come out in violence and guns. So they would get in there, play basketball, sweat it out, and whatever else, football, and they utilize that energy now. They're not able to do that now, and so he was able to see that and reroute the things that they were getting ready to do negative with something positive.
Is that something that you would be a supporter of, re-energizing, revitalizing the POW Club?
Oh, absolutely. place to go. I teach mindfulness and breathing techniques and what I can control, what I can't control. And I teach it in the schools now. And you know what fills my heart is when the principal asks me, how's it going? And I said, well, you know, when I go in the classroom, they ask and they do mindfulness first because I'm teaching them how to breathe and let it go and what you can control and what you can't control. And so they need to be able to do something other than in the classroom because when they're out for the 2 weeks or summer vacation, when they come back, I'm teaching this all over again because they've gone back to the old ways. So they need someplace else to go, some more structure. So certainly I would.
And you reminded me of Michael A. Stinger, his works on the untethered life, surrender, letting go is something that he talks about in his books. And that's just an internal thing where people just are having trouble. They're not okay inside and they're having trouble letting things go. And we start talking about de-escalation and conflict resolution. I think what you're doing, and I'm glad that you mentioned that you do this in the schools because it's something that kids need to be taught early. Prayer, meditation, all these different kind of things, because that's internal work. Is that right?
It is, absolutely. And with what I can control, what I can't control, I tell them most of the stuff that's in your head, it's like a computer. You didn't put it there. You know, it was programmed in there. Mm-hmm. And so your environment programmed that in there. You're still trying to figure out who you are and what you want to be. It's like if I buy a computer and it already has Microsoft Word on it. But if I mess it up and I put too much stuff in there, the cursor's going to go where it wants to go, so mess up. And then I got to take it to the Geek Squad because I don't know how to fix it. So I said, consider this the Geek Squad. We're going to fix it. We're going to help you figure out, try to start figuring out who you are. Somebody said you like sweet potatoes, but maybe you really don't like sweet potatoes.
Ms. Lord, thank you so much.
That might need to be a program part of the Power.
I like what she's doing though when she says, first of all, let me acknowledge the work that you do, and I think it's important and imperative that we understand that because school children today are not the school children of old. I mean, they're bringing baggage into classrooms. And
lots of trauma.
Yeah, and we thank you for doing that. But I also want to thank you and lift you for acknowledging the fact that if we don't get something, the violence will continue. And people are afraid to discuss that and talk about that because they're afraid that they might offend people who are who have integral parts in help alleviating it, but they have to bow down to the oligarch. For other reasons or another. And I think I want to commend you on what you're doing. And
thank you very much. I appreciate that. My business name is Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful Mind, yes.
How can people reach you?
I'm on the website, but it's www.beautifulminds or beautifulmind0415@yahoo.com.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for your call and comments. Very helpful on today.
Thank you guys for what you do. Appreciate you as well.
Bless your spirit.
You're welcome. 317-972-3008. Again, that's 317-972-3008 is the number to call. We want to hear what you're hearing youth say on this special edition of the Unity in the Community program. What are you hearing? When we did the survey, Dr. Moore, we had about 400 kids.
Yes,
I still have those surveys.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
At the church. Mm-hmm. And we asked the youth the top things that they wanted. Number one, guess what it was?
A place.
Money.
Yeah.
Money was number one.
Yeah.
Job was about number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
the place. Yeah, I remember the place.
It was in the top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
But number 1 was money. Number 2 was a job. And the problem with that order is that if your number 1 want is money, then you're going to do whatever you need to do to get it.
That's why I think we need to be real conscious of the fact that we need these things that we're talking about in place to go back to the beautiful mind ideology, to help program children or to put things in the atmosphere.
The reprogram.
Yes, to put things in the atmosphere and help them to understand that they have a delete button as well. Mm-hmm. And as they utilize the delete button, seek out new programming for them to think and to reach and grasp that will make them better. And then understand that your citizenry demands that if you're going to have things in life, you got to work. You got to learn how to budget. You got to learn how to got to have financial literacy. All those things come into place. But when you get up in the morning and tell me, I want some money, and you ain't got no job.
That's a problem.
And I said, ain't. That's a problem. It's a problem. And, you're going to do whatever you can to find those particular dollars. And you're going to.
Well, that drill rap music tells them how to do it.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm basically saying. And people talk about, well, at one time in the early 70s, especially in the 80s, they were talking about strong mentorships. And sometimes we don't understand what that means. Sometimes mentorship means that it's a high degree of tough love, because children are coming in out of broken homes, and so much is going on with them, and some have not even been diagnosed yet that there's a problem with them mentally.
317-972-3008, 317-972-3008. On the one hand, what are you hearing our youth say as to what they want? And on the other hand, what are your thoughts as to how to help our youth not resurrecting because it's already there, but revitalizing and scaling up the efforts of the POW Club? I think that's a good thing. But going back to that number one thing that youth said they wanted, money. And I think that as we poll the youth, maybe they'll say something different, but I think it'll circle back around to that. And Ralph Waldo Emerson is quoted as having said, "He who controls the media controls the minds of the people." And so back then, when he said that, there was no social media.
No.
There were no 24-hour-a-day news cycles.
Yeah.
We had Bugs Bunny. We had all these different kind of Iron Man shows. We had the Incredible Hulk. We had all these Batman. We had all these kind of shows. In fact, Dr. Moore, you'll remember the original Batman series.
I do.
Where Batman was always mentoring Robin.
Yeah.
So if they pulled up in front of a fire hydrant,
Robin was always ready to do something, and Batman would hold him.
He would correct him. He would hold him accountable.
Just a moment, Robin.
You can't park in front of a fire hydrant.
No, you can't do that, Robin.
Yeah.
Just a moment.
So he was always teaching him lawfulness.
Yeah.
So what are our youth being taught now when you go on these social media platforms, when you listen to music? I think Ralph Waldo Emerson had it right. But, of course, what does the scripture say? Evil communications corrupts.
Yeah. I listened at the author, I can't remember his name. What's his name? Wrote the
Robbie
book.
Warren? Yeah,
Dr. Warren. Mm-hmm. And he said he didn't want to bash anyone.
Former president.
Donald
Trump, yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad in our society today that truth has become, the word truth has become
hate speech
now. Mm-hmm. And
we used to say speak truth to power.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They used to.
But people who don't accept truth say it's hate speech, Mm-hmm. But I think in many cases when we look at what media is doing today, and what it's doing to the minds of children. I mean, sometimes I sit and look at it just to see what's on there, and sometimes it's appalling. I mean, it's after you process some of what you saw, it is really appalling. And this is what parents have to watch. They got to make sure they have parental blocks and things in place. They have to monitor those cell phones and things of that nature, because children and young people have access to so much communication and information now that so much so, going back to the violent piece, that I've seen and I've buried young people who are victims of social media propaganda. Mm-hmm. And we lost young people behind that.
Well, I'm hoping that the people who are gifted to gather people,
right?
There are people who are gifted to gather people. There are already tools in place to battle against these things. Years ago, these issues are not new. They're just more now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, well, what do we have? I mean, what can we do? And so there are decency in broadcasting laws. that are already on the books
Yeah.
and have been there for a long time.
Right.
But in my research, you have to have enough parents, you have to have enough people to galvanize and to come together and gather together to rise up against what's being transmitted over radio or Facebook, YouTube. Now, they've got Congress passed something where they either ban or sell
TikTok.
Yeah. Because it's connected to China.
Yeah.
But we've got a crisis right here in America with some of these other social media platforms that are dumping trash into the minds of our children.
Yeah,
but they won't act on that.
They don't care about the corruption of certain ethnic groups. They're concerned about China, and they're following the money.
Infiltrating our economy.
Yeah, it's about money. It's not about fixing a situation. It's about money, and that's the problem. Just like when we look at referendums here in the city of Indianapolis, people say, "Well, I'm not going." They're thinking about the money. They're not thinking about something that's going to better a child. And that's how I look at it. This, if we can better 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 8 children, get them higher educationally minded and things of that nature. If we could have people address those issues that you're talking about, and not be afraid to even be ridiculed for doing it, and being talked about,
Well, see, those were the tactics of Dr. Martin King and those folks. They were after lawmakers, and to say these laws need to be changed. So civil rights era back then, of course, we still have issues now, but if our civil rights leaders and transcendent Black people and social justice leaders and civic leaders would gather together and say there are laws on the books, and we don't want this provocative, profane trash being transmitted over anything. And Father Flager, you remember in Chicago, he marched with thousands of people, but I don't recall them wanting to change a law that is contributing to the problem. So
it's law and policy.
Well, we say that's what's contributing to the problem is poverty and food insecurity and all these different kind of things. But what about what some of these rappers are putting out? But you know what I hear people say? We don't want to mess up the rappers' money. They're making money. That's art. That's art, but it's a kind of art that's destroying the minds of our young people. You have the laws of primacy that come in place. What a person is taught first, they remember longest. And so a lot of our kids, and I think Laura was talking about this earlier, they grow up in environments that are saturated, even in utero. Before they even get the slap on the behind, they are hearing this in the womb of their mother. When you go to in utero learning, which is something I studied a long time ago, in utero, a lot of these kids, they're already adapted to a lot of the music. They're already adapted to, and some people say, well, white kids listen to it too and all that. 80,000 people at the Lucas Oil Stadium listen to rap music at halftime, and they are drinking, and it's mostly white people who are listening, 80,000 who are listening. And so they don't leave and go and shoot people and do it, but although white people do shoot white people and all that. But they say, well, white people listen to it and they're not doing that. But a lot of them don't grow up in the same environments and neighborhoods that our young people do. So it's not comparing apples to apples.
No, and I'm glad you said that. We just need to be very frank about the situation. 2 different cultures.
That's entertainment for white people and lifestyle for Black people, in my estimation.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying in that whole scenario is when we look at the cultures and see where our culture came from. I mean, and where we had to survive and still are surviving. And even today in our community.
Yeah, I grew up on blue lunch cars and black and white boxes for government cheese too.
Yeah, I hustled bus tickets and lived around the corner.
I remember those bus tickets.
Yes, sir. And sold those blue cards, When Miss Rice wouldn't lick on, I was in the bookstore, trying to get me a blue card. And I didn't and lived 2 blocks from the school, but But that was, what we did to have a little change in our pocket to sell bus tickets and do it. Those were the days. But now, I mean, people are riding buses and setting them on fire. So, so we're living in a rough time, and people need to really understand that. And our neighborhoods are not getting better; they're becoming traumatized. And
the young man that did that here was 25. I think 24, 25, I think it was. I think it was 25 or something. Yeah. 10 years ago, he would have been 15 and probably in some program.
That's a great possibility. Somebody could have got a hold of it.
So then,
And let me say this, because I hear people who are in high positions say, well, we're not babysitting your children. I don't think it's babysitting.
And even if it is.
People make statements like that because they're ignorant. You got a lot of people who have positions that are ignorant and don't and say ignorant things. I've done that myself, and just be honest about it. But let's not look at these programs as babysitting programs. Let's look at it as juvenile structured programs to help young people change their mindset, to build them in a way to where they see life differently, and to shift from a violent mindset to a productive, peaceful approach to life, and to be conscious of their own environment and their own existence as a person. And I think it's important that we understand those type of things. And if that's what it's called in your mind, fine. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as an opportunity to help a young man and give a young woman an opportunity to become or enter into that place or that space to become the best that they can be. And to make good decisions.
But if it's a good babysitter, the laws of dominant influence come into play. And how many of us had good babysitters?
I did.
Who were good examples.
Yeah.
That grandmother was a babysitter.
Yeah.
Or that that church mother or that person was a great babysitter. And we were walking down 38th Street, and I said, well, as long as they're with us.
They're in good shape.
With us.
They're with us.
They're in good hands.
They're in good hands. They were with us, and we took care of those children. I remember some of my babysitters. They say, "Well, I remember when he was," that, and to hear them say that, I don't say. I've learned from my past that God can change anybody. You can make better decisions about your life to be a better person. It's all about that, and I think it's important that we understand that. But some of this stuff that we see in the Black community about the oppression of activities and programs and the redirection of dollars, all of that is intentional and has a lot to do with the racism of Indianapolis.
All right, we've got to get Frank in here. Frank, we got about a minute and a half for you. We're almost out of time. Thanks for holding. Frank, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you both of you. Good to hear your men's voices on the radio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
The lady that called a few minutes ago about the kids is need an outlet. They got to do away with that aggression some kind of way. I'm going back to experience here because I was a teenager at one time in Cleveland, Ohio, and we had a program there that up in the Heights. We had a program there that was like on a Saturdays from 12 to 9, and on Sundays from 3 after church is let out, from 3 to 9 at night, and the parents would pick up all the teenagers, the girls and the boys, and they had a disc jockey there, and we danced and let out that aggression and dancing on the floor with the music, with the girls and and having fun. And then after that, when it was over, everybody went on. And I'm gonna tell you something. I was there for them 56, 57, and 58, and I never seen a police come up. I never seen nobody arrested. I mean, the kids who done did what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Had fun, and then we was gone. around and doing something else, find out something else to do, you know. But, you know, because if you don't get rid of this aggression, and I don't understand how come Indianapolis here don't come up with some kind of, with these business here in the local business here in these neighborhoods, to like at Hair Place up there on 38th Street there in the Keystone. Those people ought to be able to give something back to the community to support these baseball teams, basketball teams, whatever is going on there, and Kroger, grocery stores, and all these places should be able to do that because that's where you're gonna get your support at. Look out there at Avon and Plainfield and all that, the little league baseball teams out there. The people support that, but in our neighborhood, nobody supports nothing, and we expect our kids to be, you know.
College graduates.
All right, Frank, we got to go. We're out of time. Thanks for your call.
Thanks, Frank. Love you, Frank.
If we have to pay $500 million for another soccer team, a tie to that would be $50 million.
Yeah.
To the Power Club. How about that?
Let's just be honest about the fact we're into militarizing police, and we're into economic development.
Not totally.
Yeah, not totally, but that's most of it.
All right, we got to go, y'all. Thanks for being with us. We like you. We love you. You make
Yes,
us smile. Have a great Saturday and good weekend.
Bye-bye. Yeah, we into that, Doc. Let's build a building and make sure somebody's watching. Let's build a building, make sure somebody's going to watch it. Police it.
Thank you all for hanging out with us. Have a great day.
WTOC AM, W236CR Indianapolis, the home for Indy's favorite.
Good job, Amaya.
Amaya, you
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Amaya, you